Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a Dred custom build. I've already built it, it's in the studio now, you're staring at it. You'd usually see a blind here. Looks exactly the same backdrop as what you usually see on the channel, but I've done a few little tweaks. Now, as you know, I've got my sort of airbrush wall behind the blind, and I was thinking of like modding this side of the studio because I'm sort of kicking out that sort of side, tidying it up. Because I accumulate a lot of stuff. I get a lot of people going, oh, try this product, try that product, and you get bottles and tins and airbrushes, and you've got to find places to put all these things. So I was sorting out that side and thought, right, I've got to do some changes in here to make this for my workflow better. So whether it's updating filters, lighting, anything in this side to make it sort of run a little bit smoother. Now, the first thing I did was debagged the French doors and then cleaned all the glass up. So that floods a lot more light in the day. So it's loads better to work in here because you've got natural daylight along with these two lights. Now, these lights here are going to change. I'm not having these sort of piercing down coming this way. I'm going to get some flat LED 12 by 600 flat panels, and they're going to be mounted in the ceiling here, or not into the ceiling but flush sort of to the ceiling, so it's more of a down light this side and that side of the studio instead of these ones that sort of glare down. It's nice when you're working in the middle of the studio with these lights because it sort of casts the light across and gives you sort of plenty of light. But it's time for a change. These have been really good, so if you are thinking of what are the LED battens like, these batten lights, these are 6 foot daylight battens LED. They're about £39 each. They've lasted, it must be 3 years. These lights have been on, and they're on a lot of time. They work really well, they've done well. They're covered in overspray now as well, so that's probably why they're a little bit sort of look more frosted, the actual lenses. It's not putting out the correct light, so it's time for a change on them. So we've got the bit behind where you see all the brushes mounted. Now, I accumulate more brushes and different paints, and I usually keep my airbrush paints sort of either in the cabinet down here, but my FW range, my old miniature ranges, I have them in the other side of the studio on a shelf, and they all sort of get clumped together on one shelf, and I'm sort of trying to sort through them. It's a bit of a nightmare in that side of the studio. Every time I go to do something on the channel on YouTube, I have to go in there, dig out all the paints, bring them in, then I'm going back in there trying to find another colour, and it's just backwards and forwards, and it just takes time. If you add all them times up of going backwards and forwards, especially when you're doing filming, it adds up. So I thought, right, it's time to revamp here. Just here where I've got my paint cabinet down here, that's the next one to revamp. I'm going to revamp this. So what I did was I took the blind down, made 2 aluminium faced cabinets, as you can see here. So when you open these up now, you've got the same space you've got here, but split into 2 on this side and this side. So I've got all the FW and Wicked paints that I use on the channel when you see me do the step-by-steps, all pre-mixed, and it's all good to go. So I can just take these off the shadow foam like that, and I've got all my colours to hand. So it's all in this side of the studio now. And what I've done is I've had to think and thought, right, well, I use this. When I'm projecting, I'll use a squeeze jet. There's a tape measure, there's pencils, precision pencils, Posca paint pens, electric eraser, artist brush, even down to a pencil sharpener mounted in there, because I usually have to go in there, you're sharpening your pencil over the bin in that side, or I'm hunting round for the pencil sharpener because I've put it somewhere and you don't know where to put it. Now I've got it here where I can just mount it straight into the foam. So that's this side, and then on this side I've got the bigger bottles of Wicked. So if I do need to mix some more up, I've got my selection of Wicked, Createx Illustration, I've got some more inks here, and then I've got another row of brushes. We've got the Gallery of Mobius is here, 20203. We've got the GP850 Sparmax mounted in here as well, and I've got room for 2 more brushes here on that side of the door. So it's just a lot more user friendly, and when you close these off, these now seal back to a draft excluder strip that I've put round, so when you shut the doors you've got no overspray going behind. When I had the blind up here, the blind stopped a lot of the overspray, but I had to tape the sides of the blind up with masking tape to the wall to close it off. But now I've not got to worry, I can just close these 2 doors and then just latch it like that, and that's a nice seal to the frame. And we've still got the similar sort of backdrop, the blue with the logo on. So when you're doing filming, if I just want that sort of backdrop, I can, or if I want to just open it up and do that sort of backdrop, vice versa, you've got both sort of things. We've still got the shelf here. We can use the shelf, not a problem. Still got room on the shelf to use. So it's just a lot better design, this one in the studio. All blends into the wall, nice and clean, and it just works. And it wasn't expensive to do, it really wasn't. The shadow foam worked out to £20 through Amazon. So it was £20 for the shadow foam. A piece of timber, I brought an 8-foot length of carcassing timber, the CSL. Chopped that down with a circular saw, so I made it sort of like inch battens, inch square. Framed the aluminium, pre-drilled through the face of the aluminium, and made basically picture frames to the aluminium, screwed through, countersunk the heads into the aluminium, and then just lightly filled, just nibbed over the top, and then wrapped it in a blue matte vinyl over the top, and then my logo to finish. So price to get the doors done with the foam and painted, draft excluder, all in, it come to under 30 quid. So you can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong. A little bit of DIY knowledge, drills, simple tools, and we got it down. So that's the first sort of step in the studio this side, revamp. I'm going to revamp, I'll drop you a picture up now. That picture there, you can see the cabinet, which is just down here. Now that's the similar sort of thing. That has a extension reel in it. So if I need to hook up a sander or a polisher, I can just pull the extension lead out. You see when I've got the monitor running on the easel, I just unravel the extension and plug the TV monitor in, or the overhead light. I've got power in there that I can just roll up and close that cabinet off. Now the other stuff that I've got in there, I've got little shelves in there. I've got 3 shelves, and they just stack all my golden range. I've got loads of bottles of golden in there. So I'm going to take all that out, drop a 50mm sheet of the shadow foam against the wall. So I've got a 2-foot square against the wall. I can then cut out for the extension reel, and that will slide in. I can put the isopropanol in. I can put all the golden range against the wall, and then on the internal of the door, because that door's battened exactly like this, that door down there basically looks like the frame of this, and I've got room to put shadow foam on the inner. So I'm going to put all the shadow foam on the inner, and then put more FW range, like the grayscale range that I've got. I've got a grayscale in golden. I'm going to do a grayscale in FW as well, and have them pre-mixed on that side of the door. So everything is to hand. It's just easy just to go and pick a paint up. You can see it nice and clear like that, and you can just pick what you want. It's all there ready to go. So I think a really cool idea, nice and cheap to make. So if you are doing a studio build, even if it's a shed and you're thinking of converting the shed, little ideas like this will help you along the way, guys. They really will, because there's nothing worse scratching your head thinking, well, how can I do this? How shall I do that? I've practically thought of every sort of scenario in this studio, or been through every scenario when it comes to painting something in a small area. This is only 10 foot wide by 11, and I've painted like a full Vespa in here in one hit. You've seen some of the stuff on the channel that I've done in this area and how I've made things fit, like the big easel that you see in this photo here. That just hooks flat to the wall, so that only comes off the wall 3 inches, and that's a big easel or a table. You can mount it to the side of the studio wall, so that adapts to different things. We've got the standalone easel, which is basically a bike stand, which was an absolute bargain from Lidl for 20 quid. You just fold the legs out, and I adapted it, so I put an easel on it. That's the one you see where I have the TV that comes round. That's another little custom build that I made that works really well, that was cheap. So all in, that easel and the stand was 20 quid. I got it's a drawing board, and I picked it up from a second-hand shop for 20 quid. So all in, that stand costs 40 quid. And you can just dismantle that, and you can make that into different things as well. There's a video on the channel where you can see all the different things that I've done to that stand and what it can actually do. So really handy bit of kit, and that you can just assemble and disassemble that, and that just stands in the corner in that side of the studio, out the way. It's never been a problem. I can just bring that in and set it up quick when I'm doing a video for you guys, like a step by step. So I just thought I'd show you this one. So if you are thinking of sort of airbrush storage space or paints, that works. It's going to be perfect. So thanks for watching, guys. Drop your comments, tell me your thoughts, and I will see you in the next one, which is going to be a step-by-step. I've got a really cool piece of artwork. I will do a community post. We've got a monochrome portrait of a woman. She's got tattoos, and there's a little bit of colour in there as well. So I really fancy doing this one. So that's the one that's going to be up next. It will be in the community post, so you can have a look. And I'll see you in that one. Cheers.